librarian refused to believe him until cross-examination about the contents convinced the librarian that Vivekananda was indeed being truthful. Such was Swami Vivekananda. Swamiji was known as Shruti Dhara due to such a characteristic, such a trait of him. Shruti Dhara meaning a person with prodigious memory. Without further ado, today on the occasion of birth anniversary of Swami Vivekananda, I welcome you all to the 74th Amrit Mahotsav lecture organized by the Center for Freedom Struggle and Diaspora Studies IGNOU on the topic Swami Vivekananda and Modern India. We are very fortunate to have Swami Shantatmanand, Secretary, Ramakrishna Mission, Delhi, with us today. On behalf of the entire IGNOU family, I welcome you, Swamiji, and thank you so much for gracing us with your presence today.
Yeah.
This passion,
Thank you.
Thank you, Swamiji.
Yeah.
This passion for
Yeah.
sorry, may I continue? This passion for the world and attraction for Swami Vivekananda's ideal of service to man is service to God led this working professional in his 20s to tread a new path. The youngster who joined the Ramakrishna order as a monastic later became Swami Shantatmanand after formal monastic vows. In his journey of nearly 45 years in the Ramakrishna order so far, he has spent nearly 30 years, that is 3 decades, at the international headquarters of the order, Belur Math in West Bengal. His passion for service to the poor and marginalized led to his helping in the setting up of 2 very important voluntary organizations in West Bengal, namely Sarda Seva Sangha and Sarda Kalyan, largely managed by trained women volunteers. This indicates that such sanghas are very helpful to have more and more empowered women around us. His passion for interfaith harmony inspired him to organize a world meet for peace and harmony. He did so in 2012, and this World Meet was inaugurated by His Holiness the Dalai Lama. The fact that Swami Vivekananda's ideas of man-making and character building, education, have not penetrated our educational system compelled Swami Shantatmanand to start a program to awaken children to their full potential through gentle nurturing and guidance. Such an idea led to a full-fledged Awakened Citizen program which was launched in 2013-14. And right now, it has more than 5,500 schools under it. The program has already changed mindsets and touched many lives, out of which around 10 lakh children and 20,000 teachers have been positively affected by the program. He is now working on developing programs for primary school children, parents, administrators, corporate executives, and many more who are likely to benefit from the powerful and highly relevant contemporary ideas of Swami Vivekananda. Swami Shantatmanand is in the process of setting up a separate institution, namely Vivekananda Institute of Values, for this purpose at Gurgaon, Haryana. I will not take more time. I would like to invite Swamiji to address the gathering and share his wisdom with all of us.
Yeah. Thank you, Raknidhi. Namastri Atirajaya Vivekananda Sure Satchit Sukha Swarupaya Swamine Tapaharine. Our Pro-Vice Chancellor, Dr. Satyakam, other faculty members, and the other students, probably some of them also joined. It's such a happy occasion, 12th January being the birthday of Swami Vivekananda. In the year 1985, In fact, this was the last major decision which the late Prime Minister Indira Gandhi took before she laid down her life in the service of the country. She set up a committee because she was deeply disturbed by the way the youth of the country were wasting their time and seemingly losing their direction. The committee unanimously chose Swami Vivekananda as the youth icon. So from 1985, this day is celebrated as National Youth Day all over the country. So that is why, although I am in Ahmedabad, I really accepted Dr. Satyakam's invitation because it's such a wonderful occasion. All of us need to again and again go back to Vivekananda, look at his work, read his books, absorb, imbibe them, and really find out whether they have any relevance for us. I mean, so much needs to be said about all that. Now, essentially, yes, we need to talk about modern India, but what really is the context? Normally, in our Indian tradition, particularly in Hindu tradition, they talk about Anubandha Chatushtay, four important things which determine any serious study, particularly the scriptural study. The first is the Vishaya. What is the subject? Now, today we have chosen already the subject, Swami Vivekananda, maybe modern India. And then Prayojana. What is the need? What is the need to study this subject? Yes, we need to study because we are all deeply concerned as citizens of this country about the state of affairs. Whatever it be, all of us are definitely concerned, all of us are connected. So, definitely there is a need. And then the third is the connection. What is the connection? How Swami Vivekananda is connected to modern India? Why should we study him? Why should we talk about him? Now, you see, just a few observations, a few remarks by some of the great minds of our country would really tell you why we should study Vivekananda or what is the connection between the topic and us today. Mahatma Gandhi visited Belur Math in the year 1921. Before going, he wrote in the visitor's book in his own handwriting, saying about Swami Vivekananda, I have gone through his works thoroughly, and after reading them, my love for my country has become thousandfold. And another great noble son of India, Dr. Rabindranath Tagore, a Nobel laureate, said, if you want to know India, study Vivekananda. In him, everything is positive, nothing negative. So many great personalities in both India and abroad have talked about Swamiji's love for India, his passion. Because you see, if you really look at Swami Vivekananda's life, the first part, namely from 1863 to say 1885, 86, before the Mahasamadhi or before Sri Ramakrishna, his guru, gave up his body, this is probably one phase. The remaining 16 years, another phase. The first 23 years, Swami Vivekananda, he was called Narendranath Datta at that time. He was not interested in anything other than finding out the ultimate truth about existence. Somehow he was possessed as a teenager by the question whether God really existed. But people are talking so much about God. So he went to all the leading personalities of Calcutta and asked them, Sir, have you seen God? Nobody could give him any satisfactory reply. They all tried to divert the question and tell him something else to escape. Finally, he came to Sri Ramakrishna and posed the same question. For the first time, he got a clear answer. Yes, I have seen him. I see him more clearly than I see you. Not only that, he said, not only have I seen him, I can also show him to you. So Swamiji was completely swept off his feet, and that is how he completely surrendered himself to Sri Ramakrishna. And then the next 3 years or so, he spent in intense sadhana, immersing himself in meditation because he wanted to really realize God, realize the highest truth of life and all that. And he also had some great spiritual experiences. But he was clearly told by his Guru Sri Ramakrishna that he has come to this earth not just for his own salvation, but he has a greater purpose for which he has come. So this purpose unfolded before him during his wanderings from 1886 to 1892. He went on a Bharat Parikrama and toured the entire length and breadth of the country on foot. He lived with Maharajas, he lived with princes, he lived in palaces, he lived with the poorest of the poor, he lived by the roadside, he lived in forests, he lived in caves, he lived everywhere. Every type of accommodation available was tasted and tested by him. So, going through the length and breadth of the country, he was appalled by the poverty, the illiteracy, and the superstition rampant in the country. But the basic fiber of the people as such, he found it to be really good. So they are wonderful, they are deeply spiritual, they have wonderful ideas about the ultimate truth and all that. But in their practical life, they are so poor, they are mired in poverty. So that is why this thought deeply possessed him during the entire that Bharat Parikrama on foot. He was very much possessed by this idea, and it was not very clear to him because he was not given to any work or anything that way. His main idea, he was deeply given to deep contemplation and meditation. That was his passion, that was his desire, that was what he really excelled in. But in all what he liked to do most. So whether should he do it was not very clear. In 1892, sometime for the end of December, he Kanyakumari, a huge rock at quite a distance in the sea. He did not have the money to pay the boatman. He swam across dark infested waters and reached that huge rock and sat meditating for 3 days, 3 nights. What really transpired there, the details are not available, but it's very clear. There he got the real mandate, the real, the dimension, the goal, the direction in which he was to go further. All that became very clear to him. He now knew that he did not have much time on earth, but he would have to do something to regenerate his motherland. In fact, he went to Chicago not so much to give lectures and all that. His main purpose was to go to the West and collect funds for work in India. There's a purpose for which he went. He went there and stayed 4 years and preached Vedanta to people. It was all successful, but still he could not collect any worthwhile sum by way of subscription or donation or whatever it is. So he came back. Then he returned to India in 1897 in the first half, April. And then in the next 5 years, he dedicated himself for the regeneration of motherland, largely by galvanizing the youth, inspiring them, exhorting them to work, welfare of the motherland. So, that is why his passion was that this country, this national ship of ours, this India, it has ferried millions and millions of people across the world. our brain. That was the language he used. So obviously, there's a tremendous meaning and connection. If you talk about India, the first name that comes is Swami Vivekananda. I don't think the country has seen a greater patriot than him. Many of those revolutionaries, many of the freedom fighters, they would always carry Swami Vivekananda's works. That was their British even what are the revolutionary fight the British, all that. So not only that, he was so deeply moved by the condition of the masses. And he said, the youth should work out my ideas. He had tremendous faith in the youth of the nation, and that is why many of his addresses, from 1897 to 1902, he gave up his body in 1902 in meditation because he said, I will not live to see 40, and 39 years and few months he left his body. So, he says, how he says, do you feel that become good? And by does, does it course through your veins? This step to become even the world stand one side and you are on the other side. Do you still have the courage to work out your ideas? Can you still do it? Even if the whole world is against you? Then he says this is the third step. The second step being, do you have any idea? Feeling is that he followed clear thinking. Do you have any idea how we can go about this? And then the third step is against you, it stands on one side. Do the courage to carry out your ideas. So, that way, many of his talks, people his famous a series of lectures when he landed from Colombo and almost went up to Almora. A series of lectures are called Lectures from Colombo to Almora. If you read them, you will be charged. You will feel so much inspired. So his idea was that this country, see, he was always of the opinion Vedanta is wonderful, but Vedanta should not be only for life beyond death or only for life at a transcendental level. It should not be only for the contemplatives or recluses or sannyasis. He said the Vedanta should become a living force. That's why he said, I want to bring the Vedanta of the forest to the marketplace. He said it should become an extremely wonderful practical tool. That's why, his ideas are called practical Vedanta. That's why, when he came back and finally he set up the Ramakrishna mission, what was his idea? He said there will be two ideas, twin ideas before this Ramakrishna mission. He said it is Atmano Mokshartam and Jagat Hitaya. Yes, welfare of the individual, our spiritual welfare. At the same time, that should be linked to the welfare of the society or the nation. Unless these two are combined, you cannot say that I will let the country go to dogs. I will aspire for my mukti or spiritual illumination. So, that is why you see he set in motion a new type of monastery, a new type of monastic order where, the monks are mingling freely with the people of the world, setting up an education institutions and hospitals. Today, lakhs and lakhs of students pass through our institutions. Crores of patients are treated every year. All that we do definitely with a very specific spirit, a specific attitude. So, Swami Vivekananda then he said, give me 1,000 men and women, youngsters, young men and women, fired with the zeal of patriotism, ready to lay down their lives at the altar of Mother India. I will change the nation. I think we have not been able to give him the number that he wanted. Here and there somebody comes, but then, the numbers are so few, they are not enough to completely galvanize and revolutionize our whole country as such. So we have not been able to give that kind of number. In fact, in 1897, he clearly said, if you want, I can give you I can get to freedom this very moment. Will you be able to hold on to it? You will not be. You are not yet prepared. But then he said in 50 years, India will get its independence. In 1897, he said, in the next 50 years, India will be free. That happened. But post that, what has really happened? Today, we are talking about 75 years of India's independence. Amrit Mahotsav के बारे में हम लोग बात करते हैं. Are we really free? What does this freedom mean really? Does it mean freedom means go as you like? Today, much of the discussions center around it is men or women or anywhere. The whole idea, everywhere you see the idea of freedom. Freedom meaning whatever I want, I can do. Nobody should say anything. This seems to be the definition of our ideas, our idea of freedom. Does it lead us anywhere? Even after 75 years of independence, why do you still need reservation in our country? We have not been able to, take forward the marginalized, the downtrodden, etc. So much so, even they have to be divided and shown as belonging to an inferior caste or this or that, and reservations are to be made for them. Why? Why are we not able to set up, the countries in such a condition that people are just they come out on their merit? Everybody is giving enough opportunities. There are no lack of opportunities for anybody. Are we able to say that? What is the condition of education today? Even now, there are lakhs of schools, perhaps, which lack even the basic facilities like light, electricity, or water, or washroom, or things like that. There are many schools which function just with a single teacher in rural and other kind of that interior areas. These are all certainly not signs of freedom. What are we talking about? GDP and economy and all that. You may have even a GDP of 7 or 8 or even 9. What does it mean? If you billionaires and millions of people living below the poverty line still can give you a good GDP number. Does it mean anything? Are we able to take with us the masses? What is the condition of the masses today? Go out to the streets and see. Go to the villages and see. We are, I think, Swamiji, if you had to see the present India, he would even be sadder than he was when he went on a Bharat Parikrama. Because, at least in those days, no one was a stranger. Anyone coming to the house at the time of food, if he's hungry, he would be fed. Today, what is the condition? People are really languishing in poverty and illiteracy and all that. We have not been able to make much of a progress. So, that's okay. As Swamiji himself says, what is the solution? Can you do something about it? Who is to bell the cat? Who is to do that? Someone has to do it. We need to really, look at India. Someone has to own it. All of us have to own it. All of us have to take up as our responsibility. Otherwise, the efforts of government, etc., will never be enough. The government can never do what the citizens can do. The government can support us in a small way. But the modern India today, the India which is even now full of poverty and illiteracy and so on, if India is to be regenerated, if we really want to see the dream of Swami Vivekananda, Swami Vivekananda clearly said the future glory of India would far surpass her past glory. I'm not just saying, I'm literally seeing. That's what he said. So it is quite possible. But then, how is it possible? Swami Vivekananda himself says somewhere, each nation has some specialities, some special characteristics. In Britain, UK, etc., perhaps it is the uh, political ideas. But India, it is religion and spirituality. And he says the national ideals of India are sacrifice and service. Intensify them on those channels, the less will take care of themselves. What he says, he says the national ideals of India are sacrifice and service. Intensify them on those channels. The rest will take care of themselves. So, we need the type of young men which Vivekananda talked about. The students of our uh, JNU, huh? We can definitely, if they take it upon themselves, they can really, come forward and do this. But we need someone need is necessary to guide them. How do we go about this? How do we go about this regeneration of our motherland? How many schemes can we start? Yes, schemes are being started. That startup, these, that, other ideas are there. But much more than that, what we thought, as in Ramakrishna Mission, after spending, 125 years today, the mission is also celebrating its 125th anniversary today. It was set up in 1897. This May we completed 125 years. With long years of experience in the field of education, etc., we feel that we need to really transform mindsets. The point is, the it's a very sad state of affairs. 5% of people are possessing 95% of the wealth of the country. 5% are holding on to 95% of the wealth. You will be shocked that during the pandemic, the amount of money which the rich people made, which the millionaires made, you know, if that money is distributed, they say that you can distribute a lakh of rupees to millions of people. So much of money they made during the pandemic. But same time, we also know several lakhs lost their lives. So many people lost their livelihood in lakhs. So no, see the contrasting picture. In India, what's happening today is the rich are getting richer. The rich are becoming mightily rich. But the poor are, left high and dry. See, the real problem today, more than anything else, it's not so much of poverty. It is the inequality. The rich poor divide. That is the biggest problem today in this modern India, in the India of today. How can we address this issue? Can we go house by house and campaign that you should all share your additional wealth that we have? No. I'm saying, you're all in IGNOU, supposing there's next pay commission, and overnight many of you get an increase of 30,000 and 40,000. How many of you will be ready to, set apart 10,000 for the education of the poor or from service activity? Till yesterday, I was getting 1.5 lakhs. Today, I'm getting 1,80,000 or 90,000. 10,000, let me set apart for some charity, some work for educating the poor or the downtrodden. Can we do it? No. What is necessary to make it happen? Transformation of mindsets. That is why, we want this change to happen in young students, in children, so that when they grow up, they will grow up as awakened citizens. They will work not only for the welfare, they will also work for the welfare of the nation. We need awakened citizens in this country. Without that, it's not possible. So that is why we are running a program called the Awakened Citizen Program, where children are told, children of class 7, 8, 9, or 6, 7, 8, it's a 3-year program, where they are told that Swamiji's ideas of education, where he says that in each one of us there is tremendous power, potential, glory, knowledge, everything is there. Education is just bringing out this. The inherent power and potential in each one of us, that should be brought out. That Swamiji says is the main purpose of education. So, all these are all given to students in a very beautiful way. We tell them how Atma Shraddha or self belief is so important. Children are told about harmony, about sharing and caring, feeling for others. What is expansion? What is caring for others? All these things are beautifully given to children through modules. Today, this program is running in 6,000 schools all over India. But that is minuscule. There are lakhs and lakhs of schools all over the country. We are getting more demands. But where are the people? We really want resource persons. See, the youth of our country, if they want to respond to Swami Vivekananda's call, let them come and join our program. The awakenedcitizen.org is the website. The awakenedcitizen.org. Let them go to the website and apply for Vivekananda Fellowship. Let them serve 2 years the motherland, just like a military prescription. When they are in many countries, even in Singapore and other countries, you have to serve the national army for 2 years. In the same way, if they can serve in this program, we will give enough for them for the maintenance, etc. But they cannot set up a family and have a costly car or things like that. For 2 years, can they respond to Swamiji's call? where he says the national ideals of India are sacrifice and service. Can they do this due to sacrifice? Sacrificing 2 years of their precious time and seva, service, the service of the country by participating in this program. Take this program to all over the country. Inspire them again and again. If you really want youngsters who are capable, when youngsters inspired with Swamiji's ideas, when they go and talk to children, when they inspire them, obviously, the response would be very good. That's how this program can be taken to more and more schools. So, once for 2 years, just we want them only for 2 years, then they can go back, pursue their higher studies, or take up much paying jobs and all that. Just like, service, military service like that. 2 years can they serve in this program? Probably they can do wonders because, we really need youngsters who can go to the nook and corner of the country, live under tough conditions and work for this program so that, the young children are inspired. Once the young children get it, once they are transformed, that would live as a lifelong experience for them. Because in this program, the children are exposed to wonderful ideas, but nothing is, forced down their throat. There's nothing like do's and don'ts. They are given a free choice. They are taught how to make responsible choices in life. Once children learn this, once they are, comfortable with all that, these ideas, then, they'll be able to again take this forward. And this once this becomes, at a young, impressionable age, when they really understand and really get it, what will happen? No, they will grow up as truly awakened citizens. When they grow up, they know that, my responsibility does not lie with myself taking care of myself and myself alone, or at best my family. No, it should go beyond that. Then only they will, today, if we, as a nation, if we function, it's not a problem at all. For example, you remember for the Ganga Action Plan, to purify Ganga, they're spending thousands of crores. Nothing was happening. I think probably they have again abandoned it completely. Thousands of crores. But if there is an awareness, in one day the problem could be solved. Because for thousands of years we have been worshipping Mother Ganga as sacred. The Ganga water is treated with so much of with devotion. It is worship. People are so careful. So if in the nation, if they take it up from tomorrow, we will not pollute the Ganga. It is so sacred. It is so pure. Maybe it may take just 3 or 4 days for 1 week for all of us to implement this. Instead of that, you have spent thousands and thousands of crores. Nothing has happened. So, there will be, unless there is this awareness, unless we understand our life in a larger context, unless we think that my life is not just alone my individual life. Because no, not only that, this is very, very essential because, the students pursuing higher education, studying in colleges and universities and all that. Do they know that every farmer who has committed suicide has contributed for their studies? Do they realize that? Do they understand that? See, all of us depend upon so much the nature, Prakriti, for everything. What we drink, what we eat, it's all the product of Prakriti. Millions and millions of people have contributed. So it's our own duty in turn to do something for others, to do something for Prakriti, to do something for nature, to do for others. That's what in Gita, what is called yajna. What is the idea of yajna? Sacrifice. It's simply pouring ghee and other things uselessly into fire. No. Of course, they have already found out the scientific reasons, what happens when the smoke goes up and all that. Even leave that. Essentially, what was this? This symbolic of the sacrifice. What we have taken so much from Prakriti, in a small way, we are expressing that through this symbol. That was the idea of sacrifice. So, the Gita is so much, it talks about yajna, how we are constantly taking from nature, but we are not doing anything, not giving it back. So, through this program, maybe there can be other efforts also. But, right now, you have got something which is very ripe, very fit, highly doable, extremely attractive for youngsters. Some kind of a national movement. This is a national movement and national awareness. Something else can also be thought of. But, if it can be done, then probably, our we'll be able to produce citizens who are more aligned to the national goals, the national idea. Of course, one can have one should grow, one should develop individually also. But no, whatever you do, if it is always kept in mind, we have also to take in account the welfare of others. What would be needed, brothers? How can we contribute? If the idea of contributor is very strong in every individual, probably we'll see a totally different India. So no, the modern India, we have taken some of the ideas from the West. We have got the best mobile phones, the best other gadgets, and so on. But no, these are all not real signs of modernity at all. You must understand, we are 75 years old in terms of our independence, but still we are not independent from poverty and illiteracy and that superstition and so on. So much of casteism, so much of division on those lines, all that should go. We should be a country whereby there is no need for that kind of protection. Every citizen has got such a wonderful opportunity to learn and study and so on. They can all participate. It's all open. Everywhere it is merit that is recognized and rewarded. But everybody is given a present. Everybody is given an opportunity to study and learn and so on. Like that, so much needs to be done. But we need a great movement, probably something very similar to the independence movement. But this time, the independence is not from foreign lands. It's independence from our own narrowness, our own limited feeling, our own selfishness, our own self-centered behavior. How each one of us can contribute in a small way to the welfare of at least a few. If not anything else, at least let us introduce the youngsters. I will introduce 5 youngsters to the ideas of Swami Vivekananda. That itself is a great national service. Can we do that? Somewhere, we should understand life in a larger context. Otherwise, it can't go on like this. Today, we see so much of social unrest, so much of fighting, andolan, anything. You come to the street, frustration and very that's why all those andolan tomorrow all of you can put a huge andolan. Our Dr. Satyakam should be removed. Then you'll find 500 people clapping and joining. Why? Because anything they are ready. Because there's so much of time, there is so much of frustration, so much of anger. Let me take it out on anybody. Let me take it out on any issue. Many of those who are participating in Andolans do not even know why it is being done or what is the purpose. Simply they are joining because they are frustrated. They are so angry. But this should change. This should change. Otherwise, we are in for a great disaster. This kind of the way the gap between the rich and poor is increasing, that's a very, very dangerous sign. And that only spells disaster for the country. But even now there is time. If all of us take it up very seriously, particularly, I don't know how many of the students are listening to this talk today. All of you, the elders who have listened, please go and tell your students. They must join this program, contribute 2 years of service to the nation through this program. They are given a decent honorarium to maintain themselves, but for 2 years they must be totally dedicated, committed to the service of the nation, and then of course they can go back and pursue whatever they want. By this effort, we can take this program to lakhs of schools across the country. We need a huge army of youngsters to do this. So we are already, our Nidhi said that we are in the process, but I've already practically set up that institution. Ramakrishna Mission Vivekananda Institute of Values is a beautiful building which has come up in Gurgaon. We'll be launching our other programs from there. So I'm sure we'll be able to. The most important thing is, as Swami Vivekananda said, we need men, men, men. Men, of course, also means women. We want youngsters who are ready, who are possessed with this idea. Think about the nation. Can something, or should I just live for myself alone? If this idea comes and in the read Swami Vivekananda, so one of the, of course, the first step would be to read Swami Vivekananda. At least 2 books. His lectures from Colombo to Almora, and the other is Letters of Swami Vivekananda. If anyone reads this seriously, He just cannot remain idle, cannot remain silent to the problems and the difficulties of our nation. I'm sure youngsters would read Swami Vivekananda, be inspired, and be also associated with the Ramakrishna Mission and try to join some of our programs whereby we can all together try to create a new India, an India of Swami Vivekananda's dream. That's all I have to say today. I thought I will have a few minutes of time for question answers in case the participants want to ask something. Share. I'm just ready for the next few minutes. Thank you,
Thank
Nidhi.
you.
Thank you, Dr. Satikam.
Thank you, Swami Shantatmanan, for helping us understand the significance of the relation between Swami Vivekananda and modern India. I'm sure the audience has more clarity now about why one should study Swami Vivekananda's works in today's era. After your address, we all understand Swami Vivekananda more, and we all are feeling encouraged and inspired to spread his philosophy further. My heartfelt thanks to you, sir, Swamiji, for gracing us today. I'm sure the takeaway we all have today is that we will try to encourage the youngsters, the young minds around us for joining this program, which is a very novel idea, and we all at IGNU appreciate that. Now, I would request Professor Swaraj Basu, Professor History Discipline in School of Social Sciences, to kindly provide his special address. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Nidhi. And my regards to Swamiji and my respect to my colleague, Vice Chancellor Professor Satakam, Professor Sukriti, and my distinguished colleagues from all the regional centers and the faculty and the schools and divisions in the main campus. After listening very aptly the passionate and inspirational speech from the Swamiji, I have hardly to add on that. But in this occasion, I would like to share one or two personal experiences, Swamiji. I was fortunate to be educated in Ramakrishna Mission, Narendrapur, and that was the time when you must
So
have
nice.
joined the Ramakrishna order. I studied from 76 to 79 at college, and then
Yes, exactly.
I also privileged and also blessed to teach in Ramakrishna Mission College for 5 years before coming to IGNU as a faculty way back in 88. So you chose the path of monastic order, and I chose the path to family life. But two of my batchmates, they joined the Ramakrishna order. One is now the secretary Devghar Ramakrishna Mission, and the other is the secretary in Purulia Ramakrishna Mission. All of us studied together, one chemistry and one economics. The point which I recollect when you are focusing on education and you made it very aptly clear, I remember the day when we entered the college premises. We were welcomed, Vayamarambha Shubhaya Bhavetu, and the next morning we were welcomed, which is in modern parlance the induction program, and that was a brother for us. So the Swamiji that time, who was our principal, later on he became Swami Mukti Rupananda. He now lives in Bangalore, a very old man. Swamiji told us a story. With that, he told us that you all have come from different background, not only education, but also family background. Some are rich, some are poor, first generation literate. So all of you might be have apprehensions in your mind and fear, seeing the boundary wall of the Ramakrishna Mission and the strict discipline, morning to evening. He began with a story. He says the Swami Vivekananda once went to Banaras and he was coming out from the Durga temple. On the way, he chased by the monkeys. So he was very scared, Swamiji. So he was running. On the way, he met an old sannyasi. He stopped him. He told him that, why are you running? He said that monkeys are chasing me. He said, you stop, stand, and look at them and shout. They will go away. And exactly that happened. And Swami Vivekananda later told that that was a lesson in my life. Narrating this story, a small story, Swami Muktirupananda ji told us that you are the fortunate few who got the admission in this esteemed Ramakrishna Mission institution. So you should not have fear in your mind. And two things he told us, the magazine which used to be published is OV. He said, referring to the Vedantic and Upanishadic teaching, he told us, if you do not have self-confidence, courage, and self-respect, you would not be able to achieve anything in this world, either in your education or your profession or your family life. I think that was the essence of the education of man making and character building, which were told to us in those days 40-45 years back. Now, when I look back just before my superannuation, I think the crux of modern education and the modern problem that the Swamiji had very well reflected on, that first you have to reform yourself. You have to grow both spiritually as well as intellectually. Unless you bring the change within, you will not be able to bring the change in the society as you desire. First, you have to reform yourself. You have to learn from the lessons from the great patriots of our country, that how you can do the best in a limited way. I think if one of us take these lessons, there are a number of such inspirational stories in the life of Swami Vivekananda. And I will give another example. When I was reading the autobiography of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, he was at that time in school in Cuttack. He says that in his autobiography, he writes that during the exam days, he was reading the complete works of Swami Vivekananda. And after Swami Vivekananda's life, he decided not to be after his matriculation in the parental home, and he left and he wanted to become a sannyasi. But when he came to Haridwar, he met a sannyasi. He said that this is not the path of yours. You go back, take permission from your family, and dedicate yourself for the cause of your family and the mother country. So think of those days in the early 20th century. I just give one example. And till now, there are, I believe, hundreds of youth in our country are inspired, but because of their own limitations, because of certain societal concerns and others, they would not have the courage the way Swamiji and other Swamijis, leaving their families, dedicated themselves for the cause of the society and educating others. We all have to, in our limited way, we may not be able to follow the path of the Swamiji in words and spirit the way the Swamijis in the Ramakrishna order are doing. But wherever we are, in our limited way, if we take the spirit of character building, courage, self-respect, and service from the inspirational words of Swami Vivekananda in his writings, we'll be able to bring change, maybe in a limited way, but definitely that change will be felt by others. So, Swamiji, it's very inspiring to listen you, and with all my colleagues, I express my gratitude that you have agreed to inspire us through your talk, and it's a great lesson for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Swaraj Basu sir, for expressing and sharing your personal experiences with us. They were very helpful in enlightening us and making our experience more enriching today. Your address has actually enhanced the effect, I would say, the effect of the address of Swami Shantatmanan. And we always appreciate your forthcoming nature, which provides insight to all of us always. Thank you, sir. Now I request Professor Satyakam sir, Honorable Pro Vice Chancellor IGNOU, for delivering his concluding remarks.
धन्यवाद निधि। आज एक बहुत ही पवित्र दिन है और इस पवित्र दिन पर स्वामी विवेकानंद जी के 161वें जन्मोत्सव पर हम यहाँ इकट्ठे हुए हैं और वो भी अमृत महोत्सव व्याख्यान के अंतर्गत। ये 74वां अमृत महोत्सव व्याख्यान है। हमने जब 12 मार्च 2021 को आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के आह्वान पर यह कार्यक्रम शुरू किया था और जो ये संकल्प लिया था कि हम 75 व्याख्यान करेंगे, उस मंजिल तक पहुंचने में अब एक कदम दूर हैं। ये कैसा संयोग है कि हमने इस कार्यक्रम का आरंभ चंपारण सत्याग्रह से किया था, गांधी जी को याद करते हुए, और आज 74वें व्याख्यान में हम भारत के ऐसे व्यक्ति को, महर्षि को याद कर रहे हैं जिन्होंने देश की युवा शक्ति में विश्वास किया था। स्वामी जी ने जो मार्गदर्शन हमें दिया है और यह बताया है कि आज आजादी के 75 साल होने के बाद यदि हमें स्वामी विवेकानंद जी के पथ पर चलना है तो चरित्र निर्माण, युवाओं का चरित्र निर्माण, त्याग, बलिदान और सेवा का जो संदेश स्वामी विवेकानंद जी ने दिया था, वह सभी युवाओं के भीतर हमें वो अलख जगानी है। मैं ये बताना चाहता हूं कि यह कार्यक्रम न केवल इस गूगल मीट के माध्यम से चल रहा है, बल्कि ये इग्नू के कई चैनल्स पर भी, ज्ञान दर्शन और स्वयं प्रभा के चैनल पर भी ये चल रहा है, ये हमारे फेसबुक पर भी चल रहा है, और इसके माध्यम से न केवल हमारे विद्यार्थी बल्कि पूरा भारतवर्ष इस कार्यक्रम को देख और सुन रहा है। मुझे पूरा विश्वास है कि जिस रीजेनरेशन ऑफ मदरलैंड की बात स्वामी जी ने की, ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन ऑफ माइंडसेट की बात की, अवेकन सिटीजन की बात की, आत्मश्रद्धा और सम्मान की बात की, और केयरिंग फॉर अदर की बात की, स्वामी जी ने जो हमें बताया वह भारतीय परंपरा का एक हिस्सा है और हम निश्चित रूप से इस भारतीय परंपरा को कहीं ना कहीं विस्मृत कर चुके हैं। जो हमारी नई शिक्षा नीति बनाई गई है, उस नई शिक्षा नीति में हमें इस बात पे बल देने को कहा गया है कि जो मानव मूल्य है, जो वैल्यूज हैं, इंडियन वैल्यूज हैं, उन इंडियन वैल्यूज को हम विद्यार्थियों तक पहुंचाएं। मैं स्वामी जी से प्रेरित होकर यह कहना चाहता हूं कि हम पूरा प्रयास करेंगे कि स्वामी विवेकानंद के विचारों को अपने अंडर ग्रेजुएट प्रोग्राम में शामिल करेंगे। वैसे इतिहास के पाठों में वो उपलब्ध हैं, लेकिन मैं अनुरोध करूंगा अपने सभी साथी से, प्रोफेसर स्वराज बासु जी से भी, कि स्वामी विवेकानंद को किस प्रकार अंडर ग्रेजुएट के कोर्सेज में पढ़ाया जाए, जो सभी विद्यार्थियों के लिए, चाहे वो साइंस के विद्यार्थी हों, चाहे कॉमर्स के विद्यार्थी हों, चाहे इंटरडिसिप्लिनरी के विद्यार्थी हों, चाहे आर्ट के विद्यार्थी हों, सबों को स्वामी विवेकानंद जी के बारे में पढ़ाया जाए। क्योंकि स्वामी विवेकानंद जी को पढ़ने का मतलब है भारत को जानना, उस शाश्वत सत्य को जानना जिस शाश्वत सत्य पर स्वामी जी विश्वास करते थे, और वह था मनुष्य का चरित्र निर्माण। सही कहा स्वामी जी ने कि शिक्षा का उद्देश्य चरित्र निर्माण होता है। आध्यात्मिक और नैतिक शिक्षा का यह प्रमुख अंग है। आपने चिंता जाहिर की कि किस प्रकार निर्धनता बढ़ती जा रही है, और खास तौर पर जो निर्धन हैं और धनी हैं उनके बीच की दूरी बढ़ती जा रही है। निश्चित रूप से जो सेवा और त्याग और बलिदान की बात है, हम यदि अपने पाठ्यक्रमों के माध्यम से, अपनी कार्यशालाओं के माध्यम से, अपने व्याख्यान के माध्यम से हम विद्यार्थियों तक ये बात पहुंचाएंगे, तो निश्चित रूप से इंदिरा गांधी राष्ट्रीय मुक्त विश्वविद्यालय एक महत्वपूर्ण कार्य करेगा। इंदिरा गांधी राष्ट्रीय मुक्त विश्वविद्यालय के पास लगभग अभी 35 लाख छात्र हैं। यदि हम अपने कार्यक्रम में इसको शामिल करते हैं तो 35 लाख विद्यार्थियों तक स्वामी जी का संदेश पहुंचेगा, और हम इसके लिए कृत संकल्प हैं। मैं धन्यवाद देता हूं स्वामी जी को कि आप यहाँ आए, वर्चुअली हमसे मिले, सहर्ष स्वीकार किया हमारा आमंत्रण। मैं अपने कुलपति महोदय का भी धन्यवाद देना चाहता हूं, क्योंकि उन्हीं की संकल्पना से और उन्हीं के आशीर्वाद से हम इस 74वें पायदान पर पहुंच चुके हैं। और हमारे जो क्षेत्रीय केंद्र हैं और हमारे जो अध्यापक बंधु हैं, नॉन टीचिंग स्टाफ है, उन लोगों ने भी बहुत मदद की हमें यहाँ तक आने में, विचार देने में, क्योंकि इसमें हमने हिस्ट्री, कल्चर, लिटरेचर, थिएटर, सिनेमा, डांस, साइंस, मेडिसिन, टेक्नोलॉजी, एनवायरनमेंट, सब पर बात की। क्योंकि यदि भारत को सही अर्थों में आधुनिक भारत बनाना है तो इन सब पर हमें विचार करना होगा। तो इतिहास, केवल इतिहास की चर्चा नहीं की हमने, केवल स्वाधीनता आंदोलन की चर्चा नहीं की हमने, बल्कि हमने भारतीय संस्कृति की भी बार बार चर्चा की, भारतीय साहित्य और नाट्य की भी चर्चा की। तो इस प्रकार हम एक समग्र भारत के निर्माण में हम जो सहयोग दे सकते हैं, एक शिक्षक के रूप में, एक विद्यार्थी के रूप में, उसके लिए निश्चित रूप से रामकृष्ण मिशन जिस मिशन के साथ आगे बढ़ रहा है, हम लोगों का जो भी सहयोग होगा, व्यक्तिगत रूप में, संस्थागत रूप में, हम सब करेंगे और रामकृष्ण मिशन के आह्वान पर हम आगे बढ़ेंगे, क्योंकि उनका जो संकल्प है वह संकल्प बहुत ही बड़ा है। तो एक बार मैं फिर सबको धन्यवाद देता हूं और निधि जी को से आग्रह करता हूं कि वो आगे कार्यक्रम संचालित करें। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
Thank you, Professor Satyakam sir. It was, as always, pleasure and inspiring listening to you. Now, I would like to formally extend the vote of thanks. I take this opportunity to thank our Vice Chancellor, Sir Professor Nageshwar Rao ji, for always encouraging us to organize such enriching talks. Once again, I thank our chief guest, Swami Shantatmanand, who helped us widen our understanding of Swami Vivekananda's life and his works. Thank you, Swamiji, for making us more aware about the relevance of Swami Vivekananda's work in the context of modern India. I also thank Professor Swaraj Basu, whose address was definitely a value addition. I next would like to thank the entire technical team who worked behind the screen to make this event a success. I further would also like to thank the members of the organizing committee of this webinar. All of them have put in a lot of efforts to successfully organize this webinar. I now thank all the members in the audience who spared their valuable time to participate in this lecture. And now we would like to conclude this lecture. And for that, I request all the people present here to kindly stand for the national anthem.
भारत जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंधु गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल गंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उत्कल जलधि तरंगा तब शुभ नामे जागे तब शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तब जय गाथा जन गण मंगल दायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे.
Thank you, everyone.